I'm standing in the kitchen, staring at Linda as she waves a crumpled dollar bill in my face. Her hand shakes with rage, and her voice cuts through the air like a knife. "You're a thief, Walter. A pathetic thief." My heart pounds in my chest. I try to explain that I only borrowed it for gas, that I'd pay it back tomorrow. But she's not listening. Greg appears in the doorway, arms crossed, that same smirk I've seen 1,000 times. "You're just a pathetic old man living off us," he says coldly. Before I can defend myself, Linda storms to my room and starts throwing my clothes into a trash bag. The rain hammers against the windows as she drags the bag to the front door. "Get out," she hisses. "Get out of my house." I stand there, frozen, unable to believe this is happening. 20 years of marriage, 20 years of building this home with my own hands, and it's ending over $1. The door slams behind me. I'm left standing in the pouring rain, holding a garbage bag, watching the house I built disappear behind sheets of water. I sit in my truck at a gas station parking lot, engine running, heater barely working. The rain drums on the roof like angry fists. I pull out that dollar bill from my pocket and stare at it under the dim dashboard light. One single dollar. 20 years gone. I remember the day I married Linda, how she smiled at me like I was her whole world. I remember building Greg's treehouse, teaching him how to change a tire, staying up late to help him with homework even though he wasn't my biological son. None of it mattered now. My hands tremble as I open the glove box, searching for something, anything. That's when I see it, an old envelope, yellowed and forgotten. Inside is my mechanic's license and a check for $500 from a job I did months ago. I'd forgotten to cash it. I stare at the check, then at the dollar bill. Maybe this is all I need. Maybe this is where I start over. The motel room smells like old cigarettes and cheap cleaning products. The bedspread has faded flowers, and the TV flickers with static. I drop my trash bag on the floor and look at myself in the cracked mirror. My hair is graying, my face is lined with exhaustion, and my eyes look hollow. For 20 years, I kept quiet. I avoided arguments, I fixed things around the house, I worked long hours to keep everyone comfortable. And where did it get me? Thrown out like garbage. I grip the edge of the sink and stare harder at my reflection. "No more," I whisper. "No more being silent." That night, I make a promise to myself. I'm going to rebuild my life, not for revenge, not to prove anything to Linda or Greg, but for me. For my own self-respect. I'm 62 years old and I'm not done yet. Not even close. The diner smells like bacon and strong coffee. I sit in a corner booth, nursing my third cup, trying to figure out my next move. 2 truckers at the counter are complaining loudly. "Can't find a single honest mechanic in this whole town," one says, shaking his head. "Got charged $300 for a belt replacement that should have been $50. The other trucker nods. "Tell me about it. Half these guys are crooks." I stir my coffee slowly, and something clicks in my mind. I still have my skills. I've been fixing cars since I was 16. I know engines inside and out. I might not have a home anymore, but I have my hands and my knowledge. Maybe that's enough. Maybe I don't need to get my old life back. Maybe I can build something completely new, something that's mine. I finish my coffee, leave a tip, and walk out with a strange feeling in my chest. It's not hope exactly, but it's close. I walk into the pawn shop with my wedding ring in my pocket. The man behind the counter barely looks up. "What have you got?" he asks. I slide the gold band across the counter. He examines it under a small light, weighs it, and offers me $250. It's worth more, but I don't argue. I need cash now. With that money, I buy a basic set of tools and pay for 200 flyers at a print shop. They're simple: Walter Hayes, honest repairs, fair prices. Call anytime. I spend the entire afternoon taping them to gas station doors, community boards, and telephone poles. People glance at me as I work, and I feel their pity. An old man with flyers and a toolbox. But something inside me shifts. This isn't humiliating, it's freeing. I'm no longer living in someone else's shadow. I'm building something that's completely mine. By sunset, my back aches and my fingers are sore, but I feel alive for the first time in years. Within a week, my phone rings. A woman needs her alternator checked. Then a college kid calls about a strange noise in his engine. Word spreads slowly, but it spreads. Meanwhile, Linda's friends start whispering. I hear through a mutual acquaintance that Linda's been laughing at me. Walter's fixing junk cars behind a gas station, she tells them, her voice dripping with mockery. But here's the funny thing. People keep showing up. Folks who remember the work I did years ago, back when I ran a small garage before Linda convinced me to close it and focus on family. They remember that I was fair, that I didn't overcharge, that I did the job right the first time. One afternoon, an older man shakes my hand and says, "You're the only mechanic I trust, Walter." Those words hit me harder than any insult Linda could throw. Respect isn't loud. It's quiet, steady, earned. And I'm earning it back, one repair at a time. One Tuesday afternoon, a sleek black sedan pulls up. The driver steps out, tall, expensive suit, polished shoes. He's got a problem with his engine light. I run the diagnostic and find a simple sensor issue. While I work, we chat. He mentions he runs a logistics company and is frustrated with his current mechanic. Guy keeps overcharging me and doing sloppy work, he says. I fix his car in under an hour and charge him a fair price. He looks surprised. That's it, he asks. I nod. He hands me his business card. I've got a fleet of trucks. I need someone reliable. You interested? My heart skips. This could be huge. But then he mentions his partner's name, Greg Sullivan. My stepson. He has no idea who I am, no idea that his business partner is the same man who called me pathetic and threw me out. I keep my face neutral. I'm interested, I say calmly. And just like that, opportunity walks through the door disguised as coincidence. Within 2 weeks, I'm repairing Greg's trucks. I work through a subcontractor, so my name never appears on the main invoices. I keep my head down, do the work, and stay invisible. But I listen. Oh, I listen carefully. Greg and his partners talk freely around me, assuming I'm just some quiet old mechanic who doesn't matter. They brag about inflated invoices, cheap replacement parts sold at premium prices, shortcuts that barely meet safety standards. Easy money, Greg says with a laugh one afternoon, leaning against a truck I'm fixing. City contracts are a goldmine if you know how to work the system. I nod, say nothing and keep working. But in my mind, I'm taking notes. Every conversation, every shady deal, every corner they cut, I remember it all. Not because I'm plotting revenge. I just know that sooner or later, the truth has a way of maturing. And when it does, I'll be ready. I start keeping records. Photos of faulty parts they're installing, receipts that don't match the work actually done, screenshots of text messages where they joke about fooling inspectors. I store everything in a folder on my phone and back it up on a flash drive I keep hidden in my toolbox. I'm not doing this out of anger. I'm doing it because I've learned something important. Silence protects the guilty. I was silent for 20 years in that house, and it got me thrown out over $1. I won't be silent anymore. One evening, as I'm closing up the garage, Greg's business partner stops by. You're doing good work, Walter, he says. Reliable. Honest. Hard to find that these days. I just nod and smile. He has no idea that the reliable, honest mechanic he's praising is the same man his partner mocked and discarded. But he will. They all will. Patience, I remind myself. Let the truth walk in by itself. 6 months after I was thrown out, Linda calls me. Her voice is unnaturally sweet. Walter, I've been thinking, maybe we were too harsh. Why don't you come over for dinner? Let's talk. Against my better judgment, I agree. When I arrive, the house looks the same. The porch I repaired, the garden I planted, the shutters I painted. But it doesn't feel like home anymore. Linda has set the table like old times. Candles, her good dishes, even my favorite roast. For a moment, I almost believe she wants to make things right. Then, halfway through dinner, she slides a manila envelope across the table. I think it's time we made this official, she says quietly. I open it. Divorce papers. I read through them slowly. She's asking for almost nothing, just wants the split to be clean. You'll never make it on your own, Walter, she says, not cruelly, but like she's stating a fact. I pick up the pen, sign each page without hesitation, and slide the papers back. We'll see, I say. I leave without finishing my meal. A week later, I'm at the garage when I receive an official-looking letter. My hands shake as I open it. It's from the city's contracting office. My name, Walter Hayes, is listed as senior consultant on multiple invoices for Greg's company. But I never agreed to that. I never signed anything. They've used me as a scapegoat. If anything goes wrong, if inspectors find problems, I'll be the one held responsible. My first instinct is panic. Then I remember the folder on my phone, the flash drive in my toolbox. I have proof of everything. Proof that I was just a subcontractor doing honest work, proof of their shady deals, proof that they forged my involvement. I close my eyes and take a deep breath. They think they've trapped me. They think I'm too old, too broken, too powerless to fight back. But they're wrong. I'm not the same man they threw out 6 months ago. I'm not scared anymore. I'm ready. Greg's company is preparing for a city audit. I overhear him on the phone one afternoon, laughing confidently. We'll pass with flying colors, he tells someone. I've got everything covered. When he hangs up, he notices me nearby and smirks. Big audit coming up, old man. Gonna be a good payday for us. I wipe my hands on a rag and smile. Good luck with that, I say calmly. He looks at me strangely, like he's trying to figure out if I meant something by it. But I just return to my work, humming softly. That night, I organize all my evidence into a single file. Photos, receipts, invoices, text messages, everything. I label it clearly and make 3 copies. One stays with me, one goes to my lawyer, and one goes into a safe deposit box. Then I sit back and wait. I learned something important in my 62 years. Don't strike first. Let the truth walk in by itself. It's more powerful that way. I meet my old friend Carl at the diner. He's a retired city worker, someone I've known for 30 years. I tell him everything. The $1, the divorce, Greg's company, the forged documents. He listens quietly, sipping his coffee. When I finish, he leans back and sighs. Walter, you've got everything you need to bury them. But here's my advice. Don't be the one to pull the trigger. Let them hang themselves. I nod slowly. How? Carl taps his mug. That audit's coming up. If they're dirty, the inspectors will find it. Your job is just to be ready when they ask questions. Tell the truth. Show your proof. Let the system do the rest. Revenge is loud and messy. Truth is quiet and inevitable. I shake his hand and leave the diner feeling lighter. I'm not going to attack. I'm just going to wait. And when the door opens, I'll walk through it with my head held high. Audit day arrives on a cold Tuesday morning. City inspectors show up with clipboards and serious faces. Greg is strutting around, all confidence and charm, shaking hands and making jokes. Then one of the inspectors calls me over. You're Walter Hayes? I nod. We have some questions about these invoices. They show me documents with my name on them. I stay calm. I can explain everything, I say. I pull out my phone, open my folder, and hand it to them. These are my actual records. Every job I did, every part 1 installed, every hour I worked. You'll notice they don't match what's on those invoices. The lead inspector's eyes widen as he scrolls through my evidence. He glances at his partner, then back at me. Mr. Hayes, would you be willing to provide a formal statement? Absolutely, I say. Greg's face goes pale. He rushes over, his voice rising. You set me up. You, the inspector cuts him off. Sir, step back. I don't say a word. I don't have to. The truth speaks for itself. Within 3 days, everything collapses. Greg's company loses its city contracts. Fines pile up, tens of thousands of dollars for fraud, safety violations, falsified records. His employees start quitting, refusing to be associated with the scandal. Linda's phone stops ringing. Her friends, the same ones who mocked me, distance themselves from her. I hear through Carl that she's been crying to anyone who'll listen, saying she had no idea what Greg was doing. Meanwhile, I go back to my quiet routine. I fix cars, I drink coffee at the diner, I sleep soundly in my small apartment. People start recognizing me on the street. Hey, you're that mechanic who exposed the fraud, right? They shake my hand. They thank me for being honest. One afternoon, a reporter asks for an interview. I politely decline. I'm not interested in fame. I just wanted the truth to come out. And it did. That's enough for me. 2 weeks after the scandal breaks, I receive a phone call from the city's transportation department. Mr. Hayes, we've been reviewing your work and your testimony. We're impressed. We'd like to offer you a position as an independent consultant. You'd review repair contracts, inspect work quality, and ensure our vendors are meeting standards. I nearly dropped the phone. A stable job. Real respect. A chance to use my skills in a meaningful way. I'd be honored, I say. They send me the contract that afternoon. The pay is good, better than I've made in years. But more than the money, it's the respect. For the first time in decades, I feel valued. I feel seen. That evening, I sit in my apartment and let myself smile. I'm 62 years old, I was thrown out over $1, and now I'm rebuilding my life on my own terms. It's not revenge. It's redemption. 3 months later, I receive a lawsuit notice. Greg is suing me for defamation and malicious interference with his business. I hand the papers to my lawyer, who reads them and laughs. This won't last 5 minutes in court. The hearing is short. The judge reviews the evidence, my records, the city's audit findings, Greg's falsified invoices. He looks at Greg's lawyer with barely concealed irritation. This case is frivolous and without merit. Dismissed. I walk out of the courthouse into bright sunshine. On the steps, I see Linda. She's thinner, older looking, her makeup smudged. We lost everything, Walter, she says, her voice breaking. Greg's broke. The house might go into foreclosure. We have nothing. I pause for just a moment. Part of me wants to feel satisfaction, but all I feel is tired. I'm sorry to hear that, I say quietly. And I mean it. Then I walk away, leaving her standing on those courthouse steps, and I don't look back. A month later, there's a knock on my apartment door. I open it to find Linda standing there with a suitcase. Her eyes are red, her hands are shaking. Walter, please. I have nowhere else to go. Can I just stay here? Just for a little while. Until I figure things out. Every instinct tells me to say no. To close the door and let her deal with the consequences of her choices. But I'm not that person. I never was. I step aside. You can have the spare room, I say. But this isn't forever, Linda. This is temporary. She nods quickly, tears streaming down her face. Thank you. Thank you so much. She moves in that night. I don't yell. I don't lecture. I just give her space and let her sit in the silence. For 20 years, I lived in her shadow. Now, for the first time, she's living in mine. And maybe, just maybe, she's starting to understand what peace really looks like. Living with Linda is strange. We're polite, distant, like roommates who barely know each other. She cooks sometimes, cleans the apartment, tries to make herself useful. But she's quiet now, really quiet. One evening she asks, "How did you do it, Walter? How did you start over with nothing?" I set down my coffee. I didn't have nothing. I had my skills and my integrity. That was enough. She looks down. I never appreciated that. I'm sorry. It's the first real apology she's ever given me. I nod slowly. I know. We don't talk much after that, but something shifts. She's not the same woman who threw me out. And I'm not the same man who left. We're both different now, shaped by consequences and choices. I still don't love her. I don't think I ever will again. But I don't hate her either. And that, in its own way, is a kind of peace. My phone rings late one night. It's Greg. His voice is shaking, desperate. Walter, please. They're charging me with fraud. I could go to jail. Please, you have to help me. Tell them it was a mistake, tell them. I close my eyes and take a deep breath. Greg, I can't help you. But you're the only one who can. You were there. You know, I know you cut corners, I say, my voice steady. I know you lied on invoices. I know you used my name without permission. I didn't ruin you, son. You did that yourself. There's a long silence on the other end. Then quietly he says, I called you pathetic. I know. I'm sorry, Walter. I'm so sorry. I believe him. But it doesn't change anything. I hope you figure things out, Greg. I really do. But I can't save you from your own choices. I hang up. My hands are shaking, but my conscience is clear. A month later, a journalist from the local paper contacts me. She wants to write a story about what happened, how I exposed the fraud, how I rebuilt my life. I hesitate, but Carl convinces me. People need to hear this, Walter. It's bigger than you. The article runs on a Sunday. The headline reads, "Mechanic's Honesty Exposes Corruption and Rebuilds His Life." It includes my photo, my story, and quotes from city officials praising my integrity. The response is overwhelming. People stop me on the street to shake my hand. Business owners offer me work. A local trade school asks if I'd be willing to teach a class. I'm not famous, not really, but I'm respected. And that respect feels better than anything I had in that house with Linda and Greg. One evening, a young mechanic approaches me at the diner. "You're Walter Hayes, right? You're kind of a hero, man." I smile. I'm just a mechanic who told the truth. While packing boxes for my move to a new house, a small place I bought with my savings, I find that crumpled dollar bill in my wallet. I stare at it for a long time, remembering that rainy night, that trash bag, that slammed door. This dollar destroyed my old life. But in a strange way, it also saved me. I take it to a frame shop and have it mounted with a small brass plaque that reads, "The dollar that bought my freedom." I hang it by the front door of my new house, right where I'll see it every morning. It's a reminder that dignity isn't measured in money. It's measured in choices. I choose honesty. I choose respect. I choose to build a life I'm proud of. And no one, not Linda, not Greg, not anyone, can take that away from me. The community center hosts an awards night for local business owners and tradespeople. To my surprise, I'm honored for integrity in business. I stand at the podium in my best shirt, looking out at a room full of faces. "I'm not a fancy speaker," I begin. "But I learned something important this year. Sometimes, losing everything is how you find out what you're really worth." I tell them about the dollar, about being thrown out, about rebuilding from scratch. I didn't do anything special. I just stayed honest. And that was enough. The room erupts in applause. People stand, clapping, some wiping their eyes. In the back, I see Linda. She's crying quietly, her hands folded in her lap. After the ceremony, she comes up to me. "I'm proud of you, Walter," she says softly. I nod. "Thank you." It's not forgiveness exactly, but it's something. And for now, that's enough. A few days later, Linda tells me she's moving out. She found a small apartment across town and got a part-time job at a bookstore. "I need to figure out who I am without depending on someone else," she says. I help her move her things. Before she leaves, she hands me an envelope. Inside is a single dollar bill and a handwritten note. "You were right. This is all I owed you. Thank you for showing me what integrity looks like." I stare at the note for a long time. Then I fold it carefully and tuck it into my wallet. She leaves quietly, no drama, no tears. Just a simple goodbye. I close the door and stand in my small, peaceful house. For the first time in 20 years, I'm truly alone. And I'm okay with that. Better than okay. I'm free. 6 months later, I open my own repair shop. It's small, just 2 bays, a waiting area with a coffee pot, and a hand-painted sign out front, $1 Motors. People ask about the name, and I tell them the story. Some laugh, some shake their heads in disbelief, but they all remember it. I hire a young apprentice named Marcus, a kid who reminds me of myself at that age, hungry to learn, willing to work hard. I teach him that integrity never goes out of style, that an honest day's work is worth more than a shortcut. On the wall above my desk, that framed dollar bill hangs in the morning light. Customers notice it and ask questions. I smile and say, "They threw me out over $1. But that dollar bought me my freedom." And it did. I lost a house, a marriage, and 20 years of my life. But I found something better, self-respect, peace, and a future I built with my own 2 hands. I'm 63 years old, and I'm just getting started.